listening to Into the Spotlight with Osaka Jack on Everfree Network. Hello everyone, this is Osaka Jack with Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. Today with me, I have someone, again.
I just love it here.
This is the second time I've spoken to them, but the first time that you'll hear, because sometimes computer programs, despite you hitting the record button, don't actually record the interview. Ha 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 ha. Mr. Argodaemon, hello.
Hello.
Now, real fast, you mentioned it to me yesterday that this is not a first-time issue with you.
No, I think out of any time I have been interviewed in any way, I've had them come back afterwards and go, "Oh, you know what? Actually, that didn't work right." And so I'm just gonna start planning contingencies.
You should just carry a personal recorder with you all times and just, oh, here's my version. I think my version recorded it.
Yeah, but then I just start recording everything I do.
Yeah,
It's easy to win arguments that way.
it
You
is.
didn't say that. Haha.
I do remember there was a comedian who insisted that at the beginning of every relationship, both parties should be supplied with a stenographer. Court stenographer, so you can just say, I did not say that. You think I said that, but no. Can we read back the minutes of June 8th?
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how actually useful that would be.
Yes. And honestly, a physical human is not something we can do, but, I'm thinking an app would be possible.
Abused, but possible.
Incredibly abused, yes, incredibly abused, and you'd be so hated for having, but okay. Digression. So if anyone is not familiar with your work, can you describe a little bit of what do you do?
I'm known for doing SFM animations or source filmmaker animations, which is 3D animation software that utilizes the Source Engine by Valve.
Okay.
And it's I just animate 3D pony models and really not any specific genre. I just kind of I have an idea and I'm like, that sounds like fun. And I mean, I do some pictures and GIFs and stuff as well, but it's YouTube that I tend to get the largest audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've mentioned it slightly, but you do a lot of different areas. So we've got the comedy, the wacky, the action, and a few, huh?
I think sometimes it's more fun to get people that do the blank stare than it is to laugh. When you can make somebody's brain shut down for a minute, that's success.
Yes, yeah, I do enjoy one of those reactions of it finishes and what did I just watch? What was that?
I don't know what that was, but I'm gonna hit replay.
Yes. It's even better if it's an animated GIF because it never stops.
Well,
And I never stop asking, what the heck am I looking at?
There was the GIF where they had the Dos Equis guy, and they're like, I don't always watch a GIF, but when I do, I watch it twice. Because nobody ever watches a GIF once and goes, oh, that was pretty cool, close it. No, they have to watch it through a second time, maybe a third, and then by then they're like, okay, I'm good.
Yes. Yeah, there are. I do enjoy a lot of GIFs. I admit this, but there is a time limit.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll get one of those really, really long, detailed ones. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And then I'll blink or look away for a half second and look back. What was that? I got to watch the whole thing again to see what that half second was because it looked important.
And that's because I wanted to try something new when it came to GIFs a while back. So I actually had like a GIF where I had like a box, like a normal shaped box, with Pinky loaded into a cannon.
Okay.
And when she gets launched out of it, it breaks her out of the GIF.
Okay.
And she goes and she flies out to the side. So when I made the GIF, I actually made it so it had blank space on the sides to make it so that it kept it centered.
I see.
But in doing that, it allowed me to actually push her outside of it. So I got a lot of comments like, I did not see that coming. So it was actually it allowed me to break the fourth wall in an unexpected way, and it took a little time to figure out how to do it. And I learned a lot in doing it, but I took a medium that everybody knows and then just tried to tweak it a little bit, and it turned out really well.
That's good. That's always nice when we can be surprised by things jumping out at us.
Hmm. Yeah, it's boring if you watch and go, yeah, I know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
To have a twist. I mean, I'm even M Night Shyamalan hit his limits too when it came to twists, but I'd like to make it so that people go, that was unexpected, because
Yes.
then that's entertaining.
I think for me with M. Night Shyamalan, I was disappointed because everybody was expecting a twist. And
Yeah,
everybody's, I think it reached a point where people like watching the movie like, okay, what's the twist going to be?
yeah, it would ended up being a twist would be a lack of one.
Yeah. Yeah, that never happened, but I would have really appreciated if it had been a movie that finishes and like, oh, oh, so it's just the specifics. Okay, so nothing hidden. All right, wonderful.
Where you started knowing that the twists were getting so extreme that you started to think in the extreme and kept, like, I think it was The Village.
Mm,
I figured out what was going on in the movie halfway through.
yeah.
And I wouldn't say it ruined it because it was entertaining to see if I was right,
Hmm. Hmm.
but it was also just kind of disappointing that it
Sure.
was like easy enough to catch like that.
Yeah, I can
But
see that.
a lot of it is in movies were sticking around the same genre. You could watch the movie within 5 minutes, go, yes, I know who made that.
Hmm.
And that's why I like to genre hop so that I can keep get people guessing, and I like it too because it keeps me learning.
Yeah,
If you keep the same thing over and over and over again, you're just gonna get stale. But
very true.
I like to do that because then it's like everything that's watched is something, not just a different video, but a whole different experience,
Right.
and I like doing that.
Hmm. Well, I mentioned it, but yeah, one of the creepier ones that I just cannot stop watching is the Om Nom Nom.
I love that one.
I love
I
that
think
one.
there's now that I think about it, it's for the original picture, but somebody I was on a stream and I was doing it, and somebody had it recorded and they put it on their YouTube of like it's like 15 minutes of me making the picture for it, but it ends up having an animated portion
Uh-huh.
of and us just laughing our ass off as we're making it because you could think when you watch the stuff that is funny watching,
Yeah.
just know that I laugh 10 times harder making it. And if I'm making something funny and I'm not laughing doing it, I know I'm doing something wrong. If
Sure.
I'm crying in making it, I know I'm doing something right.
Hmm.
So, and that like the pinky slamming on the drums, I was
Yes, that's
laughing
right.
so hard through that. And but then that was motivating me to make it stupider and stupider. So,
And you mentioned the previous time, but the Pinky playing the drums was not something you intended to do, but it came out from reworking something, right?
yeah, it was I, I know Phyrexis had done it at one point, but I know that you can reposition the bones of a model, and I repositioned, and it takes like a half hour to an hour to do it, but to reposition
Hmm.
all the bones on a model to match up with the bones on the model of another like a human model. So like
Hmm.
say in this case a zombie from Half-Life 2. And you can load in sequences, so you can load in like the attacking sequence and the running sequence, so you can have Pinkie Pie running on all fours in like the zombies from Half-Life 2. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
Well, I loaded up the one of her the zombies just static flailing in the air,
Hmm.
and I'm like, dude, she's playing the looks like she's slamming on the drums. So I loaded in a drum set, and I then and it, the people that are watching like, you're gonna just is this are you gonna do anything with this? I'm like, no. I actually like just had her banging stupidly on the drums, and I shut the file. The next day, I'm like, I'm gonna do something with this. So I spent like the whole evening, and that's what I made, like the drum pieces falling over. I went through music in there. I'm like, I gotta have an intermission, so I put in the Dancing on Rainbows in the middle of it. Um, but the whole thing came about because I just loaded a sequence, and I'm like, that's hilarious. I want to do something with that. So, and it was 2 days of work, not even.
Was now I'm curious on this. When you did the Pinky playing the drums, was that before or after you saw the new Equestria Girl short with Pinky playing the drums?
Thing is, well, for one, I made that a month before I made it even public.
Okay,
Um, but I actually don't think I watched any of the trailers for Equestria Girl stuff.
interesting.
Like
Okay,
the closest I've ever gotten to that is watching the I think the B-Vids version,
okay,
but that's more of just comedic. But
right, right, interesting. Because we do have Pinky playing like Animal from the Muppet Show in there.
yeah, but I don't know why, but if I had to think of what instrument would Pinky play, that's really the only one that makes sense because out of any other instrument, you're just kind of standing there, but it's the one that she can just go nuts on.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
It's to me it makes sense, and the only reason I loaded Pinky on the zombie model is because I'm like, what pony would look the creepiest to do this in? And I mean, later I ended up using the Spike model for it, and that was kind of creepier because I think you can actually have fingers.
Sure, sure.
But other than that, Pinky, it's the only one that made sense to me.
Well,
Because then people wouldn't be like, oh, that's a creepy Rainbow Dash. They'd be like, no, that's just Pinky.
yeah. I am happy that you didn't use Pinkamena style hair, though.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been as funny, and plus, since the
Mm.
hair with how fast it was moving, it wouldn't have looked right. It would look
Yeah,
just static. It
yeah.
wouldn't have the jiggle bones wouldn't have looked right. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna stick with the bouncy Cotton Man.
Yeah, good call. One of the other recent ones that you've done I just find it hilarious. Uh, Uses music from Stanley Parable.
Hmm.
Just Wonderbolt's initiation. Walking through town because they got some business to do.
Well, I think originally the title was just like I just thought like I don't know why, but I'm like I thought the Wonderbolt's initiation. Sure. It and when because I couldn't use Soren because I couldn't load the sequences onto Soren.
Sure.
All the female models are so much in common that I could copy paste across all. So to make Fleetfoot and Rainbow Dash do the same thing took like 3 seconds of copy
Right.
paste, but to add Soren would take so much extra work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I know people were kind of disappointed with that. Actually, yesterday I watched some reaction videos that people made to it,
Mm-hmm.
and like one of them, within 2 seconds of it starting, they were like, "Where's Soren? What happened to Soren?" And that was half of what they were saying the whole time. I'm like, I can't. And he would have been out of sync. He would have looked like he was on Vicodin while doing it.
That part of it, that might have been funny, actually.
Not as
Just,
a side. If he was the center,
yeah.
then you could have maintained some kind of symmetry. But if he was off on the right side doing that, it would have put it off balance.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just looking at it as he could have been like, everybody else had practiced this, gotten it right down, and he just kind of showed up that day and was like, yeah, we're good, let's go, let's go.
But I do like because I made the blooper video a while back for a milestone video, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to actually go back and do something similar for a future milestone video where I take and just the old videos because I feel like a milestone video of making a unique video, it's like just making a normal video and adding context. I like the
Mm-hmm.
blooper idea because you're rewarding people that have seen that content with a different version of it.
Sure.
So I wanted to take old videos and add stupid stuff to it. So instead
Okay.
of just bloopers where you're doing something funny within it, to this where it's the same video, nothing's happening, but you're just doing something goofy or stupid within it. And so I already have the one with Soren bouncing on Spitfire's back in a video
Mm-hmm.
in that video, and I have a couple videos where I've done little stupid stuff with that in, so I might make a compilation sometime.
Mm-hmm. That would be funny.
Hmm.
Now, I know that you've mentioned it to me, but you do have a larger project in the works right now.
Yeah, I've been working on for about 6 months on and off. I've been working on animating but actually I have it right in front of me. I can check. How long is that? It is
4.5 seconds? No.
just auto saved. It is 5.5, just under 5.5 minutes of
Oh, wow.
the
Okay.
Fallout radio play. The very last 5.5 minutes
Okay.
of the fall episode 1. They have episode 2 out now, but it's just of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, it's making its way there, and we're hoping to have it, or we want to have it shown at BronyCon coming up here,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm pushing to have it done in 2 months, and I should be able to,
Right.
but it's still a lot of work to do.
Well, yeah, 5.5 minutes. That takes a long time.
Yes, very much so.
Turns out that can't do this live.
Hmm.
That would be an interesting panel. You've got 1 hour. How much animation can you do? Go!
I actually thought of doing something like that.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is that an hour is a very short period of time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's to put enough resources on a laptop to do that. Plus, then you'd probably want to do an idea that some people there live have,
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly if it involves you have to remove talking. You have to remove a lot of scene building, and it becomes so basic that I just don't think it's worthwhile. I've thought about
Yeah.
bringing it just to show people some stuff, but to actually try to make something live, it'd be like, we're going to start at 8 a.m., and if you stick around till 8 p.m., I might have something for you.
Yeah.
So
And in the meantime, you will have been working for 12 hours straight. You'll be exhausted, and you'll be like, "Here, done, goodbye."
if I'm working by myself in like in the dark or whatever, would I am very very ADHD, but
Okay.
like because I do a Friday stream every Friday, duh. It is to answer questions on. I get so much done because I can't get distracted. I can't go and say I'm gonna go browse DeviantArt for a while because the people are like, what are we doing here then? So to me, I get more done in 3 to 4 hours on Friday nights than I sometimes do the whole week
Wow. Okay.
just because I get so focused. But as
Sure.
soon as the stream ends, I'm like, I'm gonna go get ice cream. I'm gonna watch TV, and it just my brain completely just shatters.
Right. Right.
So, but so I like those streams because they're as beneficial for me as it is for the people that watch.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Hmm.
That makes a lot of sense. So, what do you think the odds are of you being able to finish by BronyCon?
I should be able to. It's just
Oh, okay.
at this, it's I having it finished how much I want to have done is I should be able to, but I broke the video into 5 pieces, and I
Mm-hmm.
should have all the first 4 pieces completely done easily within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So if anything, I can just cut it there. So I'll have it's just going to be whatever extra I can fit in
Sure.
that time frame. I could just keep adding to it.
Mm-hmm. So at worst, it'll just be 80% of what you planned.
Hmm. But it's because of how
I'm
three
setting you up for a
works.
20% cooler joke. You can make it any time now.
That's so cliche.
I know.
Um, it's but also it's like if I say I finished animating like 2 days before the con, I'm screwed because it's you have to give yourself time to render.
Yep.
And if you like I had one video that because I had like 16,000 rock particles and I had all these shadowed volumetric lights and fires and explosions, and it took at a below average render quality
Hmm.
like it said somewhere around 80 to 90 hours. And
Wow.
and that would be my computer's basically locked up. It takes so much of my graphics card. I can't play any games.
Sure.
So I'm like, nope. And so I had to drop the quality to actually quite low
Mm.
in the render quality, so I could get it to 30 hours, and then I had to render it over 3 separate days
Wow.
to break it up, and then I had to use blending to hide where they're transitioning.
Hmm.
So you have to be you have to give yourself time for that. And so I'm going to probably need like a whole week to render. I can
Hmm.
probably start before then, but I want to make sure that I'm not sitting there last minute, sitting up all night,
Right.
finishing stuff like that.
Panel starting. Hey guys, it estimates another 20 minutes of rendering left. I've been working at it for a week.
Hmm.
We're gonna chat for 25 minutes and hope that it goes okay.
Well, and somebody asked at MLP MSP, they said, well, how many hours do you have in SFM? And actually, I can benefits of being at a computer. I can actually pull that up. I currently have 2,682, and that's just over a year.
Mm,
But people hear that number like that's a lot. And you're like, yeah, but do you know how much of it was just sitting there rendering?
yeah.
It's about probably 600 to 700 of that was my computer. I wasn't touching it,
Mm-hmm.
or I was lazy and I went to the go grocery shopping and left it on. So the number isn't a true value,
That's
but
not lazy. That's efficient. We're going to go do something because it's rendering and there's nothing else you can do. So yeah.
well, no, it's when I go grocery shopping or something like that, or leave and I leave it on. It's not because it's actually doing anything. It's just I don't feel like opening it when I get back.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can take a while.
Yes, I remember it. It shocked me how much rendering my videos took, and I don't have anything animated. So,
Hmm.
but on the same side, I don't really have a high end computer. So.
I had to buy extra parts because it was getting annoying. So,
I'm limited to. I'm very thankful that I have a very nice apartment, but for some reason, many Japanese apartments they decided, how many outlets does he need? One per room? Yeah, that's good. That's okay. We'll do that. One outlet. Yeah,
you're
okay.
just gonna look like a Christmas story. You're gonna have like 14 extension cords all plugged in.
Hold on. Let me
Little
see.
area dims when you turn on your computer.
How many do I have? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6.
I would think in a country like that, that electricity would be like immensely popular, to where they would not have something like that set up.
Well, it's I don't know. As far as I can figure, and I may be totally wrong here, but as far as I can figure, they've never had huge problems with electrical fires with extension cords.
Hmm.
The only problem that they recommend is, and this is actually a good idea, everybody should do this, every once in a while, dust that area. Because if it's not plugged into the wall fully, dust can get on the little metal parts, and it is possible to spark up and start a fire.
Huh.
Not something I considered, but more I think about it, like, yeah, that makes sense, I guess. Huh, how about that?
If it works, it works.
Yeah. Well, and most of my extension cords are the surge protecting type, so I'm not too
Yeah.
concerned. But I will admit fully, when you turn off all the lights, there are enough little itty bitty lights on, showing me there's an extension cord, there's my computer in sleep mode, there's that thing recharging, there's that.
Yeah, the bane of technology.
Yeah, I need blackness when I sleep, and the fact that there are so many little things on, like it's Christmas in here. The lights are everywhere. It's so pretty.
But Christmas is a happy time. So
Yes, it is, but not when you sleep through. What would you say is one of the more popular things that you've done that's just gotten a surprising amount of attention?
um well, actually, I'd have to say the first video that I had that got really popular, the one with Twilight singing the Find a Way from the season 3 finale. Yeah.
Sure.
And because I was working on something bigger that ended up like putting off completely and later became Fusro Ye video.
Hmm.
Um, I was working on other stuff and I just wanted to do lip syncing and just fool around. And so I started that video as like just her sitting, and then it just winged it completely, and it ended up getting
Winged it,
uh,
Princess Twilight. Okay, sorry.
wow.
Good joke. Good joke. Anyway.
I'm actually disappointed I didn't catch that. But anyway, but when I made that, it ended up getting way more attention, and I think it's like 650,000 views right now. But it got
Ooh.
like 300, 400,000 within like just the first month or two,
Wow.
and that was, I mean, before that I had just a couple thousand views on stuff, and
Hmm.
I did not expect that, and it was at that point that I went from like under 1,000 subs to like 4,000 within less than a month, and
Goodness.
it was at that point that I was like, I could maybe, I really just went and hit that tipping point where I went from I'm just doing this until I get bored of it to I want to keep doing this for a long time.
Hmm.
And it was, and it, because you see, we got the reaction from people that are like, we really like this stuff. And when I looked at it, I'm like, well, I felt that was really cheap and I could have done better.
Hmm.
Um, and so, and I knew that then if all you're going to do is get better, and if they already liked it then, what can I do next?
Hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the one I'd have to feel that really got the biggest unexpected amount of views.
Okay. All right. Well, is there a flip side, one that you thought would be immensely popular and people were meh?
Um, like it also, a lot of it comes down to like if something gets posted somewhere else,
Hmm.
you'll get pulled in views from that. So it comes down to it's like which wasn't as distributed as others. Um, well, I made that like unicorn friendship magic really short thing. I thought that would have been more popular than it was because
Okay.
and I thought it was really well detailed and animated. And it was based on the Spies audio when they added the TF2 pony hat.
Right.
And I made that the night that the audio came out because I'm
Mm.
like, I want to do this right now, so it's out right now because it's at the hot time
Sure.
when it.
Sure.
And then I made it and I put it out there, and then it was kind of like, and it got thrown aside. And notice, and now it's like, I think it's like 15 or 20,000 views or something like that. But
38.
30, wow, you're just right there.
Hmm.
Um, so I mean, I thought that was going to be bigger, but I think it just took time,
Sure.
which
Sure.
I thought, I don't know, maybe the market was saturated at that time with that kind of stuff.
Could
But
be. Yeah.
but that one I definitely felt was could have got more. But then there's other, like the dragon one I made. I felt that was just something quick that I made in 3 hours during a stream, and then
Hmm.
that one got, I think that one got an honorable mention in the top 10 for the month. And I'm like, how did that happen? So, but I guess when you have a pony trying to beat up a dragon, it doesn't matter how good it's done. So,
Well, it matters to an extent, but that is pretty cool. So yeah.
yeah.
I am curious now. I don't know why it just occurred to me, but I wonder if you took that animation and just replaced that dragon with a spike.
That would be difficult considering a size Well,
Yeah, the size and the body shape are just totally different, but man, it'd be funny. Just
you,
this intense rainbow with a sword blazing towards to destroy this cute little spike.
well, and I could just like I said with the Pinky model, I could just stretch his model to fit the skeleton,
That would be
but
terrifying.
that would probably make little children cry. But
Mm,
could be funny. But a lot of people have asked me to extend that, and
hmm
I still really want to finish the follow-up video, but that's on my list of potential things to actually add content to,
mm,
and add more to, because I think that would be fun. I've learned with doing this video that the faster you move things, the less accurate you have to make it.
sure.
And so I've thought about doing more action stuff because I can actually kind of half-ass it a little bit,
Well, I
and
know
still
that
make it good.
for a good comparison, I know that the Family Guy creators, they've said that their overseas animation group has requested that they not do any more slow-mo scenes because slow motion takes double the amount of drawings that the regular animation does.
Yeah, because like they always say like, oh, a walking cycle you only need like 3 or 4 frames or something. I can't remember how many. You only need a couple of frames, but if you go slow mo, suddenly you're having to put all this extra work into animating things. You can't cheat it.
Yeah.
The nice thing about 2D is you can have like I was just watching an anime earlier today, and I like to try to watch and pay attention to the times where things aren't moving
hmm
because if I can't do that in 3D because if something doesn't move, it suddenly become you very quickly hit uncanny valley territory.
Yeah.
You have to keep things moving, breathing, things moving. I put things in the background that are moved in the wind just to make the background move.
Right.
And
Right.
but in 2D, I just watch and like they'll have it where like somebody jumped back and their hands were over their head and all that was moving was their mouth, but it
hmm
still looked okay.
Yeah.
And it's that's one of the
You know,
big difference.
that's something. Honestly, I think that would be an excellent little tutorial thing, a future tutorial subject. Keep things moving, and just as a comparison, you can just take a scene that you've done, and instead of having the background move, keep it stable, and just say, "Look how bad this looks. Look at this."
I think I actually had a tutorial where I think it was when it was right after I got laid off from my job way back.
Mm,
I did like a whole week of tutorials because I was
yeah.
like, I have free time. So one of them was on camera movement, and I actually have it on there that where I basically say keep the camera moving,
Right.
because it's the same thing like when you look at a GIF and you can see certain GIFs that don't have moving parts, but the rest of it's stationary.
hmm
You can easily tell what pixels are moving and what pixels aren't. And
Yeah.
if you have a moving camera, the whole scene is moving then the
Yeah.
whole environment is moving. But if you don't move your camera at all, everything just becomes a still image besides the moving subject. So
hmm
I did cover that a little bit, but yeah, it's just to me feels like such a broad topic that a lot of people want. But I'm
hmm
like, but I could do that. I could do like an hour and a half video on that, and but I just don't want to do that. That would be complicated and a lot of planning.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know why, but I'm just recalling the Jurassic Park line. Their vision is based on movement. Ours is
It,
kind of too.
in a way that it is
Yeah.
and when that uncanny valley thing is if it's not moving like I was just working on a scene like actually while we were talking earlier
Mm,
and and it's like you hit this point where you look and you're like that part just doesn't look right. I don't know what doesn't look right, but my brain's telling me it's not right, and
yeah.
so literally I just grab a part and I'm like I just move the head to the left and that's it, and suddenly it's okay because
Yep.
it just made things move.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned it a little bit, but you did just finish up Mulpmus.
Yep, the built the it still sounds like a disease when you put it that way. But yeah, that was just last it was just well at this point it was just yeah, a couple days ago we got done. It was fun. I really it was my first con, my first pony con,
Mm,
and So, and for the local meetup group that I go to, a lot of those people showed up,
Mm,
and so I was constantly running into people that I know. So, I mean, going to a con that for something you're interested in far away, going there and not knowing anybody,
hmm
even if it's something you're interested in, it kind of loses a lot of that luster.
Sure.
But when you go there and I was constantly running into people that I knew. That was fun, and also like Adam the Amazing 64 and the Fourth Aggie both came with, and they were on the panel.
Mm,
Longsword as well, or Barrel. He was also there at the panel with us, and it to be there and get to interact with people that you know,
hmm
um, and to me the big name people or whatever you can meet them, fine, that's awesome, but it's the people you already know that you can share the experience with.
Sure.
Uh, and considering I think there's like 90% of the people that went to the con had never been to a PonyCon before because this is the first one in Minnesota.
Right.
That was really awesome because there was so much energy that
hmm
everybody had there. And everybody that went to any panel, that went to the concerts, that went to the halls, everybody was having a great time. There was really, I never saw many people that were just like down.
Right. Right.
And it didn't matter what they were doing. So, I mean, the closer you got to down was people that on like Sunday are like, I'm tired. And
Yeah. There's always the exhausted group. Like, I just need to sit down. Just leave me
yeah,
alone for 10 minutes, please. I need rest. I need energy.
so that's what made it cool to me is it being able to share so much with new people, and everything was so smoothly.
That's good.
I don't know if anything behind the scenes went bad, but as far as I can tell, everything just went like perfect.
That's
And
great.
so for a first year con, that was a lot of fun. That was
Great.
really cool.
That is good. That's wonderful.
Mhm.
And we've mentioned that you are going to be going to BronyCon.
Yes.
Any other convention plans in the future, or still up in the air?
Um, Other than obviously since the Minnesota one's a couple miles from me, I always plan to try to go to that one.
Yeah,
But if I guess it's next year, but I'm thinking it will.
probably.
Um,
Probably. Yeah.
but and then we recently discovered that Wisconsin has Cider Fest, I believe it was, in Milwaukee, that will I'm kind of 50-50 on if I'm going to go to or not. And that's November. Beyond
I'm
that,
still saying they missed out on a great opportunity. Could have called it Cheese Sandwich Head.
mhm, cheese sandwich head.
Yeah. Cheese head, cheese sandwich, cheese
Oh
sandwich
yeah, I
head.
guess that's the mascot's easy.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but that one I don't know too much about yet to really make a
hmm
plan on. Adam lives in Chicago, so that is kind of a mid ground. Well, more on his side, but still mid ground.
Yeah,
But
it's doable.
yeah, it was something that I did what I want to do this year because I had it's only been in the last I joined this fandom like 2 months before I started SFM.
hmm
So it to me, I've still consider myself fairly new to everything.
Sure.
And to finally be able to this year, I wanted to go to BronyCon last year, but I wasn't able to because of I couldn't get the time off.
Right.
Um, and so this year I wanted MLP MSP I'd consider to be at this trying out a small con,
hmm
and then I wanted to go to BronyCon to try out the big con
I
to
see.
see which side I like the most
Gotcha.
and try to make the decision
Right. Right.
and go from there. So I don't know next year then what ones I want to go to, but I want to
hmm
try to hit um, between 2 and 3 cons a year.
That'd
I
be
just don't
nice.
know ones. Probably
Japan
never.
PonyCon, cough cough. Japan PonyCon.
You pay my ticket, I'll go.
That is my exact response when I get somebody. Are you going to Everfree? Are you going to BronyCon? I'm like, I'd love to, but I can't. Oh, come
Kickstarter.
on. Pay for my ticket and my time off, and we'll talk. Unfortunately, I think we should just, arrange. Let's just rent Guam for a weekend. Just rent. I think you can rent the country or the territory, can't you? I don't know.
just rent the whole country. Where this is well, I thought there was it in Greenland? There was actual like place called Equestria or something like that. I tried to no oh no, it wasn't Ponyville. That'd be really weird. No, but no, I thought there was like a place that was actually called like Equestria.
Huh.
And I think if you're gonna have a place to randomly meet, it might be in the middle of nowhere up on a mountain, but we will do it.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I do know that. I thought this was really creative. I haven't kept up with it, so I don't know what happened. But a few years ago, there's a Japanese city that was having a lot of money problems. They didn't have many tourists. It was a nice enough city, it just didn't get a lot of money.
Mhm.
So they literally just started offering things for sale. and they insisted, we're not going to give away any offices and nobody's going to be in charge of things, but for like this amount of money they'll name a street after whatever you want it to be named after. And it had different levels, like name a street, name the park, name our office building, whatever. I think the top level that I don't think anybody took, but the top level was rename our city.
Huh.
And I was just thinking, if we did a Kickstarter and raised up enough money, we could literally have a Japanese city called Equestria.
Or Ponyville. That
Or
makes more sense.
Ponyville, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be funny.
I know.
I don't know if copyright would start running into issues,
But you're talking about
but
the name of a city. You're not talking about the name of a product.
maybe. Plus, as far as I know, they didn't copyright Fluttershy, so we can just use her name. We've called it Fluttershy.
I mean, I know that Kobe Bryant has attempted to sue the city of Kobe for using its name for a few thousand years before him, but that doesn't fly
Gotta
for
love
obvious
lawsuits.
reasons.
We in the last 100 years we've redefined the word frivolous.
Yes. Now that's the name of a city. We should go frivolous the city.
Somebody would sue about it too.
Yes, they would.
It's not a principle.
Well, a question that I ask in each of my interviews, and you have the advantage of hearing this question yesterday. In all of My Little Pony, what would you say is the one line or one scene that defines you as a brony?
Should I still go through the 3 minutes of me thinking?
You know what? I'll just add some looped infinitely while we watch another. Tell you what, let's watch the yay gif of Derpy flying away from a great white shark.
That was another. Anything that's stupid on my DA was made because I was in a stream, and when I get tired in a stream, I still want to work on stuff, but
Uh-huh.
I don't want to be serious, and it gets weird. So, but anyways, in relation to episode,
Hmm,
um, to me, I had ended up coming up with the one from last season. Now that I think about this, I think it's the testing 1 2 3 with Rainbow
mhm.
Dash, um, because of the lesson it teaches in regards to not mainly in regards to the fact that we all learn differently,
Sure.
and how a lot of people see it as a handicap when in no way it is. It's just
Yeah.
we all are different and we all have a different way of we do things, and um, it's the people that show strengths are usually the people that have learned what their differences are
Hmm.
and how to use them and exploit them.
Sure.
And but then the people that uh, are still trying to find their strength are trying to figure out how to utilize their differences.
Right. Right.
And in there, I mean, Rainbow Dash couldn't learn by any other ways that her friends was able to.
Hmm.
Um, but she had her own way to do it that she actually knew well, understood,
Mm,
but just never made a connection with.
right.
And I think that that's the way with this with a lot of things is if you want to learn something,
Hmm.
it and you are having problems with it, it doesn't mean that you can't learn it. It just means that you haven't learned the right way to.
Yeah. I mean, I know as a teacher, it's very frustrating to me, but there are times where I have to admit, okay, none of the techniques I have can help this student.
Mhm.
It's they need to find another teacher because I cannot help them. And
Yeah, and
it's
it's
not
getting
and it's not necessarily that they're not trying or that I'm not trying or that the material's too difficult. It's just our styles just don't match up.
mhm. And it's there's so many people that look at it and they say it's me. I'm doing something wrong.
Mm.
And though
Which
and
is bad, but
there's
honestly, much worse is it's you're doing something wrong,
and
which I've
that's
received as well.
and that's why like I've had people that say, "Hey, can you make a tutorial on how to make smooth animation or how to do very general topic?" And I'm like, I don't want to do that because I'd be showing my way to do something,
Yeah,
and something that's broad like that. I mean, I don't mind making a tutorial that says how do you transition a wing, because
hmm,
that can be something that's complicated. And well, there may be different ways to do it. It's not they're only going to vary slightly.
yeah,
But when somebody says how do you make animation good,
hmm,
it's that is such a broad thing. And if I go and make something that shows how I do it, I don't want to make a standard. I don't want to
sure,
say that this is the only way to do it because even if I tell people that go and do it your own way, people aren't going to see it that way.
Right.
I want to have people open to things,
Yeah.
and I love watching other people's videos and seeing all the different styles that people have
Mm-hmm.
because I think that everybody learns off everybody else, and all it does is make a collective improvement.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, so it, so I think that that's important to find your own way and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. I should I should start doing this repeatedly. I'll ask the question like a day before the interview, and then I'll come back and ask it in the interview, and they'll have a wonderful 2 minute speech like that.
Well, trust me, it wasn't something I was thinking about all day.
I know.
Uh,
Well, not consciously, but I'm sure it was digesting somewhere.
yeah, I work best on winging it. So,
Again, haha.
okay, I'm gonna learn how to remove that from my vocabulary.
Don't remove it. Just alter it to use the word Larson in there.
Yeah, I was actually just gonna say that. Pull the Larson.
That's an aspect. I'm pretty sure most people listening know this, but um, one of the funnier things about Milpmisp to me was the charity.
Oh yeah, give us wings.
That was
And
not planned. That was not planned. The charity is called Give Us Wings, and M.A. Larson was a guest at MLP MSP.
I am almost 100% certain because at the very first thing that was sold to charity was a pre-release copy of M.A. Larson's the Penny Royal Academy book, and I was really tempted to get that. I think it sold for like 400 something dollars, and um I am almost 100% certain that a pun was made at some time in relation at the beginning. I was fairly certain that it was when that draft said that when we knew that Give Us Wings was going to be doing a charity auction, I knew that there was only one person that that we needed to have give an item for something called Give Us Wings.
I don't think he's ever going to get past that.
But he even there he was playing
Oh
fine.
yeah, I think most people at this point are just jokingly upset. I don't know. There may be people who are genuinely still upset about it. I
No,
joke about it, but it doesn't really affect me.
people
I
are
think it's
upset
fun.
because they saw change, but
Yeah.
then they saw what they did with season four,
Hmm.
and where basically they just slapped a pair of wings on Twilight. But then, I mean, hell, they even had the episode in was it Manhattan where she goes to get a cab, and they even though she's a princess that has saved them multiple times, she is thrown to the dirt and said, "Get out of my way! I get my cab." And so to see something like that to where they really didn't they showed her as important, but
Hmm.
not as more important than everybody else.
Yeah.
And they saw that the changes that were made were minimal. It took it down a little bit.
Yeah.
If people weren't as upset about it, so people now when I hear people talk about it, it's more as a joke than
Yes.
it is
Yeah.
than actual anger.
And I'm glad about that. I'm sorry that
Yeah.
people were that upset, and I know that people are upset about other things too. And I hope that in time, it will just become another one of the wing jokes. But
Hmm.
uh, if you want to dislike something, that's fine. But if you've reached a point where something in this show upsets you that much, take a break.
Yeah, it means you're a bit too involved in the fandom.
Yeah, go outside, watch an anime, play some zombie shooter games, whatever. Just take a break.
I think it was during the con that I mean Larson said that that episode, the Magical Mystery Cure, is the episode that they changed the most about what he made in the script.
Huh.
And obviously because that it was a rushed episode, but it was probably because he had way more content, and they were just like, nope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know that Daniel Ingram's name appears 8 times in the credits for that episode.
But the music in that episode, no matter how rushed it was awesome.
Oh
They
yes,
did
absolutely.
it was a musical episode, and they did a great job with that part.
And I personally, I'm really, really hoping that Daniel Ingram gets his spot on Top Chef Canada that he's trying for. He's applied for
Really?
it. He's applied for it, and they want to see him in a few days as of recording this. Yeah. So apparently he has a dream of actually opening up a sh- oh, a school to teach kids cooking in a less fortunate area of Vancouver.
And
Like,
then they can flip the pans over and make music.
yeah, there we go. Well, everybody, today we've been speaking with Argodaemon. Thank you very much for coming by again.
Well, thank you.
And if this one hasn't recorded, despite it showing recording, I am going to flip something upside down and be rather upset.
I've been recording it too, just in case. So I told you, you
Thank
gotta
you.
have a
Yeah,
backup.
good plan. Good plan. This is a good plan. Okay. Everybody, be sure to check out Argodaemon on YouTube and DeviantArt and Twitter. And be sure to beg him to tell you how to make animation, the most general topics you can, because he's really good at answering that.
I don't expect any more questions. It'll just be the same number. I love helping though, but sometimes you got to know what question you're asking.
Yes, that's true. Everyone, this has been Osaka Jack on Into the Spotlight on Everfree Network. We'll catch you next time.